Hello, 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 hello. Welcome in, everybody. So, what an interesting reading today. Not one that I normally cover or have covered in the past, but this can be extended to many different things. We're going to be focusing on sex, eroticism, sensuality. So that could, kind of push into passions. It could push into love, more of the romance side of love, not the, the energy of universal source. This is like love energy, that kind of thing. So I don't know what's going to come through today. I didn't expect it, but this could be an interesting reading. Take whatever resonates, leave what doesn't. I don't really have too much else to say, so we'll just get into it. All right, so firstly, we will pick some cards for each pile. Take this one here. Okay, but also happy Mother's Day if you celebrate that. Over here it's Mother's Day. I don't know about every single country, but I'm pretty sure in the United States, New Zealand, Australia definitely is, and maybe some other countries around the world, which was Sunday. Today's Monday for me, but I know some people are still a day behind or so. Anywho, let's get into it. So for pile number 1, you've got black tourmaline with protection, self-assurance, and grounding. For pile number 2, you have the opal, creativity, clarity, and manifestation. And for pile number 3, you have the, what is this? Blue Chalcedony? Chalcedony? Anyway, this rock, which is calmness, communication, and harmony. All right, so pick whichever pile calls to you. You may have something in mind. Maybe it is about your own past history, wounds even. It could be just about self-expression. Really tap into the idea, because we can think about it and laugh or giggle or whatever, right? But what does it really mean to you? If you hear sex, what does that mean to you? Like, how does that make you feel? This may be something to touch in on that, speak to it, who knows? But I will give you some time to pick whichever pile calls to you. There will only be a few seconds, so if you need to pause and spend some more time to see which one really calls to you, feel free to do that. Down in the description below, I should say, you'll find the timestamps for each pile. But other than that, I will see you in your reading today. Hello, hello, welcome to your reading pile number 1. So you have chosen the black tourmaline with protection, self-assurance, and grounding. It says on the back here that this is essential for those undertaking a journey of personal growth. It's believed to counteract the negative impacts of electromagnetic fields while absorbing harmful energies. Black tourmaline also goes beyond its protective role. It serves as a symbol of self-confidence and a power capable of transforming anxious thoughts into self-assurance. So, this card, when I was shuffling all the cards, this one obviously came through, and I'll talk to that because I felt like this needed to be left aside and talked to. But before I did that, when I was shuffling, I was like, this is about overcoming something from the past, right? It could be something that's happened to you. It could be just something that's like you've thought about or shamed for or something like that, right? It doesn't have to be that kind of heavy. It could be just like something that you never got to express that was taboo or something like that. So it's really touching on feeling into and waking up that core of whatever it is. It's just like breaking through some of the cracks and layers. That's how this was feeling. And then this came through. So this is Lilith, which is generally seen as like the story of the counterpart. I mean, I've heard a few different stories of what a Lilith is, but the counterpart to Adam and Eve, right? So Adam counterpart kind of refused that role of domestic, let's say, and so kind of left the situation, and Eve came in to fill that, and she kind of went off on her own thing. It does talk like down the line of ending up birthing demons and stuff, so I mean, that's not always like the greatest thing, right? But I feel like in the most positive sign is not falling into roles, right? Falling into gender roles, falling into any kind of like expectation, cultural roles. This is like going in your own path. On another side, though, another story is quite different. If you had a few kind of like researchers into this, but one other side is that Lilith isn't specifically like a person or a woman or anything like that. It's just like another name for a demon. But regardless, it's still an interesting, powerful symbol and figure, especially in, well, I think since any day and age, really, since like the birth of like male and female, right? But anyway, this one's touching on power, activism, and vengeance. So it's some kind of powerful, strong energy, and that's why it was kind of touching into me. That could be about, you know, the past, something happening, someone saying something, doing something, that kind of thing. And this could be the reading that breaks apart certain things. So kudos to you for coming into this particular reading, especially if it's challenging or traumatizing or difficult. We're not going to go into like your actual kind of like trauma or anything. That's probably better suited for like a professional, but we're going to talk to, well, actually I have no idea what's going to come through, but we're going to probably flesh it out and just see the benefits and help you to make the decision that's right for you, right? Okay, so let's grab some cards. I'll grab these ones first. I haven't used some of these cards in a long time, so it's quite nice to grab these out. And this isn't really a topic that I would normally touch on because I feel like, you know, it's up to everyone else what they want to talk about and say, especially when it comes to these kind of private matters. But then again, if it's important to help you live a full, fulfilling life, then does it really matter about talking about something difficult for a day if the rest of your life is improved, right? It's better to start taking the step towards goals and breaking cycles, moving on from the past, right? Leaving things that no longer need to follow you around anymore. All right. Okay, these are going to be the oracle cards, so let's take a look. So we've got calm on the flip side. It's come up with the chaotic side of this card. So it could be a lot of feelings, right? A lot of feelings. Feeling potentially mistreated or unprotected in the past by people that should have protected you. And so there could be something here which is just like, it could even be just like a lot of thoughts, right? A lot of thoughts and feelings. You also have the mutable. This is versatility, flexible, and adaptability. This is showing that you can overcome whatever is pressing in on your mind, whatever this is triggering. It's like a clear sign from your guides that anything is mutable, even things that take a lot of time, right? Like continental shelves move, like what do they call it? Yeah, continents. The continental shelf, right? Anyway, the Earth kind of like land masses and stuff, like they're always moving around. It's very, very slow, but it's never the same. It's always constantly moving in some direction. You've got misunderstood and then perceptive. So we've got it on the misunderstood side. If anyone never believed you or never took your kind of like word as truth, just know that what is true is what you experience. No one needs to validate it. It is nice if people accept it or agree with it or whatever, or just believe you, right? That makes it easier. But ultimately, you know what happened. You know how you feel about your connection with yourself, with your body, with your soul, right? This is just about, at first, understanding that whatever has occurred, you don't, you don't have to hold on to it, but you also don't need validation for what has or hasn't occurred, because you know what's happened, right? So as long as you stick with that kind of mindset is coming through with this misunderstood. It is difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. It is difficult, but it's not up to, you don't have to rely on other people's validation is what, like, to confirm anything. That'll come in time when you know, and you know what's true in your heart. You've got say what you mean. Kind of interesting and difficult when it's chaotic. This could be about, this really does touch on, not could be, this really does touch on honesty within self, honesty within community, right? And regardless of what other people are going to say, and also sometimes with other people being very clear about what, what am I trying to say? It's not so much you having to be clear with them. There is that side of it, and also the other side is getting the details or the truth out of the other party. If people want to deny that, then you got to leave it at that, because if they can't speak truth to you about anything, then that's not your responsibility to force them to speak truth, right? You know what's happened, you know how you feel, you know what's going on. This is like a time of setting standards and boundaries, and then if people can't play within like the rules, so to speak, then it's time to be like, okay, I'm not going to keep pushing for this, for you to confess, own up, be honest. So I don't need to be your parent, basically, right? You also have rejection, misunderstood and rejection. It's a tough one, because this feels like a whole lot of layers underneath a whole lot of like multitude of different issues, right? Different traumas, different things like that. I know if you're probably listening to this and you're like, this is not my pile, feel free to click on to a different one, because we're really going down this particular path with this reading. So I just want to make sure that you are comfortable with even discussing this. Well, listening to this is not really a discussion, is it? Because it's all kind of coming through here. You're not lesser than because of what anyone else does. If you feel like you are, that's because it's coming from within, right? And that can be learned and dealt with through environment. I hope you're at a point where you can start to let go of some of that stuff and start to really focus in on your needs. It's a challenging kind of conversation, and that's probably why I haven't done any of the readings like this before, but this one's just coming through of how it's coming through. We're talking about our connection with our physical form. The sex, the sensuality is very physical, right? There's the 3D is the place to experience physical things, whether it's sports, fighting, even physical kind of like conflict, and then obviously sex, the friction of what sex is, and the purpose of it and meaning of it in your life as well. So this is coming through with a lot of challenging things. If anything, say what you mean is be honest with yourself as well. Be very clear and honest with yourself about what's occurred, how you feel about it, how your life is kind of like running, and what gets triggered by certain people, things, or whatever. Because really understanding ourselves bit by bit, or even in a whole kind of like big kind of picture, will help us know how to tackle anything that we harbor or hold on to. And it's showing like powerful energy, and this can come out in positive ways and it can come out in negative ways, right? Just like with Lilith, coming out in positive way following the beat of her own drum, following what she feels is correct for her, and leaving a situation that she was meant to fulfill something in, but recognizing that that wasn't for her. And then in a toxic kind of like way is holding on to some of that anger and harboring like hate or violence, that kind of stuff, because of the thing that, you know, she kind of went through, and creating demons out of it. It's not necessarily creating like real demons, right? But it's just like when we say, oh, that person's got demons, right? Because they're holding on to something. It's like, as long as she lets go of it, then, and recognizes that she stepped into her own power, even if she lost a partner or, you know, favor with God or whatever the kind of like metaphor of the Garden of Eden is, she still followed what she felt was right. And that's what she needs to kind of focus on. And I think that's why this has come out in this way, and that's why this one came out very quickly. You're able to move these difficult things, and you don't have to feel challenged or like awkward around different people, groups of people, certain genders, certain kind of looking people, all that kind of stuff, right? It's like understanding where some of the root causes are will help identify, explain to you, and even help you move on from some of that stuff. So we'll see what the oracle cards say, and then we will finish up. Got the King of Cups. This could be kind of like speaking to someone who is the King of Cups and just explaining your feelings, right? Because the King of Cups is a person who is trustworthy, who is loyal, who is emotionally mature, right? So I won't read. I'll try not to read too much into it, but it's kind of like a big reading, right? So you've got that. You've got the Chariot card. I like this card because you can kind of see that this Chihuahua, I guess, this little dog here is in. It's got like little wheels, so obviously it's had its legs taken off, or its back legs were maybe deformed at birth or something, you know, there's some kind of story there. But it's not hindering, and she's not treating it differently, right? Everyone, it's just like everyone in the world, we all come with baggage, we all have stuff from the past, we all have our lives that we've lived that has caused us to be more this, that, or the other. But it doesn't mean we stop living. And you can kind of see here that she's still able to walk through this park and feel comfortable and safe. And as she does, like, it's kind of symbolic of autumn, where the leaves are starting to fall off. The old is being let go. Like the trees let go of their leaves because they know that the weather's not going to be great. But it's got to be hard to, like, we don't drop out our lungs, right? When we, I don't know, for any reason really. But like if we were underwater, we can't just take them out and hopefully just breathe. They go dormant. They like shut down, and they're like, okay, it's time to let go of this stuff. And when it's time to wake up, that's when the sun will be out. The frost is kind of finished, and we get to live again as a new version of ourselves in a way, without the old baggage, without the old leaves. So it's really kind of symbolic. This does feel like talking or sharing information with people that you trust, and being very clear and honest. Got the Five of Wands too. Interesting with the rejection. It's coming up with much conflict, right? The Five of Wands is kind of that conflict. Sometimes it's seen as more of a sparring type thing, but if you've ever seen or kind of like played a game physically with someone, or even just watched on TV, right? Let's say, I don't know, what's a kind of like interesting sport, like maybe rugby or something like that, where they're smashing into each other, right? It's conflict, but it's like, I don't know, I guess it's organized. But then sometimes there'll be high tackles, there'll be dangerous tackles, and that's when people get sent off. And that's the kind of thing where it crosses a line, right? So this is about still fighting for your rights and passions and what you want, but not getting into the point of where it's harming you in any way. Strength. I love the strength card coming through because it very much ties in with all the readings, but also with the Tourmaline, black Tourmaline here, the strength card. It's turning things that were perceived weaknesses or challenges or difficulties into strengths, into, you know, I've gone through this, I've gone through that, but I'm not going to let it hold me back. I'm not going to let it stop me from finding love within myself, love within a connection, a romantic connection, feeling back into the central parts of yourself. No one gets to take anything away from you, right? You know, sometimes I think we get too caught up in the idea of purity culture, and it's like, oh, they took this away from me, or this was, you know, they what's the stupid saying? Like they took my flower or something like that. And it's like, no, like, you know, it can be like a symbolism thing if you really want to see it like that, but no one's taking anything away from you unless you give them the right to. And that's usually like that saying of living rent free in your head. No one needs to live rent free in your head, right? Even the past stuff that were challenging. This probably isn't a reading for like from start to end, kind of like this is what you do, this is the end. This is like a beginning, and then it's process after process after process, whether you talk to people about this or reconcile it within yourself. We all have possibility of doing that, but you got to go with the path that's right for you. There's no one size fits all. You've also got 2 13s, right? And sometimes 13 is seen as a would you say unlucky number? I've never really seen it as much of an unlucky number, but the chaotic card with the rejection card, it's just like potentially going through cycles of rewounding or reliving, not exactly the past, but just like similar energies, similar people, trusting this person, and then it didn't work out. And it's like, that's why I have trust issues, right? It's not my fault, it's your fault type thing. And now it's time to like move through that, move beyond that, maybe work on it. I don't know. This is going to be up to you how you process it. This is just the entire message here is about coming back to wholeness within yourself. Ultimately, that's where the future kind of lies as a positive aspect. So quite I would say heavy reading, right? But I wasn't really thinking it would be light, especially with the black tourmaline, and then Lilith kind of flying out while I was shuffling the cards. And it was the only one card. It literally came out, and usually I just put them back in and shuffle them, but it came out and it flipped up. So it's just like, well, here we go with this reading. I really do hope this helps you. First steps, I would say, is to acknowledge what is healthy within you and what is unhealthy, or that you want to shift or change, because you deserve and you're allowed to have a brighter, bigger kind of like confident self, and be able to believe and trust in the people that you connect with, right? You're allowed to have that. There will be someone in your life where you can have that conversation with, and coming from a very, I guess, fresh place, whether it's a person you know or whether it's like you know, a professional. It's really up to you. All right, that is the reading today. Interesting reading to start off with. I was very interested and intrigued by the title of this, but this reading is very heavy, so I hope this really does help and hasn't caused any issues or any kind of like problems, you know, within your life. This is never the intention of the reading. The reading is to help you awaken, right, and wake up to the actions, the things, the people in your life that help you, and also that are maybe not really resonating with you anymore. So yeah, thank you very much for letting me read for you today, Part 1. Take care, look after yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, welcome to your reading pile number 2. So you've chosen the Opal, which is creativity, clarity, manifestation. It says on the back here, let's have a look. With its unique ability to absorb and reflect energies, thoughts, and vibrations, it gathers these forces and then sends them back to you. Thanks to these distinctive properties, Opal stands as an excellent choice to harmonize with the vibrations of your desires, facilitates their manifestation into reality. All right, so let's get into it. It's a nice message of like starting to reach out or expand in some way, whether that's connections, right? Whether that's sensuality within self, whether that's going to exploring new kind of like ideas, let's say, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No, who knows? We'll have a look. Or it could be as simple as just checking in with yourself, because this idea of reflecting, it's like I always see this as like when we're dating someone, how we feel pictures our resonance. And so if we're feeling a particular way, it could help with attracting a certain energy. If we're focused in on what we don't want to see, we may attract that and then see it and be like, good, see, I see it. I don't want that. But instead of being like, okay, there's another one I didn't want to see, now I see that. Why don't you focus on what you want, right? What you desire, maybe even looking into some little things. We have the internet now and things can be sent to you in a paper bag, so you know it's discreet packaging and stuff like that. You never know. Let's have a look though at what this reading wants to speak to you about. I'm gonna take this one as well. Grab these cards. Okay. Lots of cards coming through. I might just put these here and we'll just have a lesser tarot. Okay, so let's take a look at your cards. So you have quincunx, which is dissonance, adjustment, and discord. So there's something that's like, I don't know, it feels like something kind of like blocking. And you also have the first house, highlighting Aries, and it's the self, the body, and presence. Oh, there's like it kind of feels like there's a block from disconnection with you and your body. Whether it's in a pleasurable way, self-pleasuring kind of like energy, or something you want, like it feels like something that you want to explore in, but you don't want to be criticized or judged, right? So I don't know, maybe there's something there. But it's definitely about you and your body and how you see yourself. It doesn't have to be just in a sexual term, right? It can also be just in the love term, self-love, that kind of energy, but we'll have a look. You've got agitated. Yeah, there's something that you want, but you don't know how to speak it out or tell yourself to just do it or force yourself. I'm not too sure. Obviously, I wouldn't say force yourself into anything that you don't want to do, but that's the energy. And on the flip side, it's serene, where this figure is kind of like in a blissful state. You've got wisdom. Interesting here too, because there's like it's not dark, it just feels, I don't know, it's very different, right? It's like an interesting energy in this woman figure here, or feminine kind of figure in a pregnant belly. So there's something here, it's like lessons learnt, maybe from the past unwise choices, I'm not too sure, but we'll have a look into that. You've got beauty, seeing yourself as love and lovable. I like this card, beauty. It just reminds me of like, I know people kind of say like, you know, everyone's beautiful in their own way and that kind of thing, and then people just roll their eyes at it. But really, we are all very unique and very different. Yeah, there's stock standard beauty standards, right? And that's why you'll see people at the gym, and there's nothing wrong with the gym. They're allowed to be there, and we'll say, wow, that's a beautiful man, woman, whoever, right, whatever, because of like they are working on their body and they're doing something that they feel that they enjoy and they get to show it off, and why not, right? That kind of thing. But that's just the kind of like surface level. Beauty is one is in the eye of the beholder, of course, but it's also more than just the external. It's the way you act. It's the way you speak. It's the way you look after yourself, right? The way you care for your family. You know, beauty is far more vast than just physical looks. So this is about coming back to you. You also have cycles. Kind of interesting when I was talking about the past, right? With like maybe someone, oh no, I don't think I was speaking about that exactly, but that's just what's popped in. It's felt like with cycles, it's like loops, right? Cycle, you go round and round the merry-go-round, and it's like you've seen it, you've seen it, you've seen it, you've done the same thing over and over again. But it could be even just like, oh, I think I was talking about this in your reading. Sorry, it's like a little bit, it's jumping, like something's jumping around, and I think it's like this kind of energy. But it could be like when you focus in on, I think I talked about focusing in on the negative energies, you'll spot and see it, and then when you're dating, you focus in on just actually what you want, and you'll be able to notice that within people. And if you don't notice that within people, you'll know too that that's not for you, right? So it's trusting in your ability to weed out the weeds, not to plant weeds in your garden, to make sure the flowers that are going to be there are going to be looked after and bloomed because they're exactly what you want to see in your garden, right? Metaphorically. Self-love, I mean, bam, we already know that. We've talked about that this whole time. Okay, interesting cards coming through. Quincunx doesn't talk about any specific, like, this is terrible, this is a really wrong way of looking at things. It's not about that. It's just like adjustment, right? It's like dissonance and discord is kind of like, there's something that just is a little bit niggly, or it's not like opposition. It's like there's like some kind of something there, and that's where the agitated comes in. Because if something really horrible is happening, it's way easier to call it out when then something's just slightly annoying, right? When there's that person at work who does their job, they're good, but they're just shitty at the way they speak to people sometimes, but not all the time. You know what I mean? Whereas if they were an asshole all the time, it'd be so much easier to just call it out. But when it's like occasional, it's like, you know, it's just a little bit annoying. So there's some kind of disconnect. It could be with yourself as well, with who you are, with maybe what you've gone through. And that's caused some kind of like disbelief within self and the beauty of who you are. But I do like the cycles in the sense of this is another opportunity to move beyond that. Move beyond that belief of not being able to have or get what you want, especially from yourself. You've got the Nine of Swords. It's a lot of anxious energy. This could also be, you might be like, oh, I'm thinking about other stuff. I'm not even focused in on what we're talking about. I'm thinking about all this other stuff. But somehow the self-love, this kind of like trust within self, the self-belief will actually help the things in other parts of your life, right? I don't know how, but it could, like when I was talking about work, right? It could be just like, it could power up the energy within you to get the job that you want, or ask for a pay rise or something like that. Whatever you want to talk to, or maybe even call someone out in a, you know, healthy way, not in like a to hurt, right? It's to call out the behavior for what it is. So yeah, there's more to the story than just like the surface, right? There could be like other things in the background is what I'm trying to say. But you've got the Nine of Swords. Also got the Two of Cups. I do like this. And I believe in this very strongly of self-love helps us find true love. If we don't love ourselves, we can kind of find people to date, and that's not a problem, right? But then we're almost like, because we haven't built up that trust and belief in self, we have kind of like hired someone to fulfill that in a way. It's not like you're actually hiring them, but there's something like that. It's like the external fulfills me, so now I'm fulfilled. When that doesn't work, it doesn't really feel like that is actually how growth and evolution works. It's not like, okay, cool, I need you to fulfill this, and if you can't fulfill this, then you're the problem, right? Because I'm not taking any responsibility for how I feel. You're the reason. And so that's why this whole story is coming through, like the first step through to find meaningful connections, whether that, and I say meaningful in the sense of not whatever other society says, like meaningful might be partner and kids, right? Or marriage and kids. That doesn't have to be meaningful. Meaningful could be anything. Meaningful looks like whatever you feel like it looks like. There's something for you to explore here. And that's why I'm like, is it your body? Is it other people's bodies? I don't know. It's something, which will come back to fulfillment, right? You could explore something, not like it, and then decide not to do it again. And that's fine because you've explored it. That's the whole point. You've got many cycles to work through something or deal with something here. And that's fine, because if you're working towards prosperity, then even if you know it's going to take 20 years, it's towards prosperity, right? So what's the harm in it? Even if it takes a long time. Speaking of time, kind of funny with that. But yeah, the cycle, you've got the Wheel of Fortune. This is a huge positive sign, especially if you're looking for fulfillment. I would say fulfillment starts within you. You then know what you deserve, what you desire, what you're worthy of, right? And then you can start to connect and see who doesn't really have to fulfill that, but who do you feel that you can co-create with, that you can grow with, that you can have a good time with, even if it's just casual, right? Even if it's just like dating or something, or other extracurricular activities, whatever you feel like, because this is really strongly saying you deserve whatever you feel like you deserve. So if you feel like you deserve lesser than, then that's what you're going to get. So really think about this, right? Consider what you've already been through in life, what are the connections you've had in life, and now what do you want to experience in this life? And how do you start that belief from within first? Because this card is a card of manifestation, which to me feels like you can manifest whatever you want, and you'll be able to get that. But the things that hold you back are the doubts, the fears, the anxiety, the stress, the worry that it may not happen, right? That's an automatic lowering of the manifestation. So it's just recognizing all that in this reading. But yeah, firstly through, very, very clearly is through yourself. The first house, through the body, through self-caring, through appreciation of yourself as well is really, really important here. This isn't too much of like a heavy reading. It may be for some people, right? But it's just really to help you, I guess, get into a good personal space within self to click in and decide, what do you want out of life? So just ask yourself, what do you want out of life? What do you want out of your connection with yourself? What do you want to explore? What do you want from a connection with others? Ask those kind of questions, because that'll help unravel what this message in this reading is really for you. Like, what is it really meaning for you? Okay, I'm going to leave that there, pile number 2. Hopefully this really helps. It's a kind of like a topic that I don't usually cover, but it popped up, and I'm not going to shy away from, a reading that's going to assist you out there. But really beautiful cards coming through. These are all real life kind of situations and scenarios. We do go through many cycles right in the middle, but we want to constantly learn and evolve through what we've learned in the past, right? We don't want to go through cycles of learning the same thing over and over again. That's not going to be helpful, and it's not really what we deserve too. So think about, what do you deserve out of connection, love, and even sex and, romance. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you very much for letting me read for you today, pile number 2. Look after yourself, take care, and I will see you next time. Hello, welcome today, pile number 3. So I've been trying to figure out how to pronounce this. It could be Chalcedony, Chalcedony, but you've got this blue. And this one is calmness, communication, and harmony. It's focusing on water element and your throat, so this is speaking. It's got here that this is popular amongst public speakers, orators, lawyers, and even politicians. However, above all, it is revered for its calming properties. This crystal is also able to be replace anger, anxiety, hostility with harmony and peace. So it looks like it's more of something to chill the fires, right? Chill the fires. But also help with speaking truth, right? Being authentic. It's kind of interesting with that, with the politician, because politicians aren't usually authentic, right? Should be, it would be helpful, but yeah. But then again, it's about the way with words, not always the truth. And I would say, with it focusing on the throat chakra, this is about speaking truth. No offense to any politicians watching, but I doubt you'd be watching this reading. Okay, you want to come through. Oh, okay. That card just wanted to come out. Oh, forbidden. Ooh. Okay, forbidden. Forbidden's an interesting one, and I won't get too deep into it, but because it wanted to flip itself outwards, forbidden can be a hindrance and also an exploration, right? Because when we think about even the story of Adam and Eve, with the forbidden fruit, right? One fruit, why would you put a fruit in a garden that you don't want people to eat? Was it just like a deer, or was it supposed to be eaten? But then what happens is, like, the expectation after that is you get to step out of the laboratory, so to speak, or this one little place, and you get to explore the whole world. Maybe harsher and difficult, but that harshness and difficult creates a whole lot of learning and opportunities, right? So this forbidden is maybe really touching on going beyond what you're expected, what parents expect, going beyond or searching outside of, getting out of the norm, whatever that means to you. I'd even want to go to, because I'm getting this is funny, but it's, okay. There was this TV show that sometimes shows on, like, late at night, not real late at night, but just like, you know, once the kids have gone to bed, and it's usually touching in on all sorts of different stuff. And so this one was in the United States, this woman who, you know, was like married and blah, blah, blah. Relationship didn't really work out. And then, you know, she's kind of like, well, now what do I do? And she started to, like, explore her sex life, right, and herself. And then she ended up, you know, long story short, she ended up doing classes and teaching people, like, all types of people, right? Different genders, different sexualities. It didn't really matter as long as they came in with an open mind about the topics that they were covering, and it was usually about the body, about, like, safe sex, you know, all that kind of stuff. It was like adult education on sex, because we don't really have that in many countries where it's fleshed out. Growing up in the small town in little old New Zealand, we did have that, but it was like putting a condom on a banana, which we ran out of bananas, so I just had to use a pencil. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's fine, but it's not really talking to the conversations, the kind of, like, how do I have a open conversation with my partner about my desires, right? How do I do that? There's nothing like that. So I don't know. I just think it kind of, like, reminded me of that woman who had all these I would say sexual empowerment kind of seminars. But hey, who knows what that means in your reading. Okay, let's take a look at all your cards, not just the Forbidden. You've got Uranus, which is interesting because people will laugh at that because it's got anus in it, right? But and it doesn't really help with the little symbol hole too. But anyway, it's got revolution, invention, and eccentricity. This is before I get into that, you've also got the 8th house with metamorphosis, death, and rebirth. So there's like a huge opportunity to change something in your life and really live freely and authentically, right? Especially with the Forbidden, crossing borders. That's why it's like kind of like when you're in a job that's safe and secure, but you're bored at it. But it's just giving you enough to keep you fine. You don't look anywhere else, right? You keep it the same until that job blows up, or like the company gets sold and you lose your job, and then you get forced into the transformation. This doesn't mean that's going to force you into anything, but this is big energy, and Uranus is big energy as well because it is eccentricity is also electricity because he kind of connects with the electricity, like the element of like the electricity, right? So it's like drastic changes, kind of like wild card changes. I think he's also the ruler of Aquarius, right? Which is that like revolution, that kind of like getting up and doing something different. I just dropped the card, give me a sec. So something to be cleared out and an opportunity to explore something different. And that's what it is. It's possibilities. It's not seeing it as like, oh, this is forbidden fruit. I can't do that. You know, I'm a good little whatever. To seeing it as like, this is an opportunity. And if I look at it and like it, why not try to explore it? If I explore it for a day and I really don't like it, then I know that's not for me. And I now don't need to focus in on it and wonder if I should have tried it or not, right? So yeah, this is that. You've got desecrated and also blessed, which is interesting. Desecrated is such a dramatic word in my mind. It reminds me of a video game where there's like a spiritual kind of like place, like a temple or a church or something, and someone pours demonic kind of like blood or something on an altar, which desecrates it, right? Which sometimes means that you can't use it anymore. Which is an interesting thing, and especially if you're feeling like you can't do that because it'll destroy your body or destroy your mind or destroy your culture or something. It's like, it doesn't have to be that way. This is an exploration of like a pioneer for new information and knowledge, not so much I'm going to have the intention of losing who I am. You only lose who you are if you decide to lose who you are. It can't be taken away by anyone else, especially if you're being kind of coerced into believing in a particular way of being, right? So time to kind of like let go and break through the old shell, I guess. All right, so you've got unleash your creativity. Yeah, unleash. Time to get out there. This is a really strong sign of like getting into passions. This doesn't have to be just sex, right? It doesn't have to be just sex. It can be like feeling back into the real you, right? Getting back into who you truly are. Wild, yeah. You know, get out there, get it, girl. Kind of energy with the wild card. The wild card is rewilding self. Sometimes you can see that as like going out into nature, but I kind of see it as just like getting back to the truth of who you are, back into the energy center, getting out of the head and out of the mind and getting back into the heart and the like raw power of you. Because nothing is truly desecrated. It's like if we feel like we're rubbish and we keep focusing on how we're rubbish or talking down about ourselves, it ends up becoming our reality, right? It ends up becoming our truth. Okay, let's have a look. Ooh, you're on a new journey. Yeah, break that old tablet. Get you a new one. Got the Three of Wands. Three of Wands is knowing. It's like a knowingness. You know that you're on a path. You might be like, oh, I don't know. I have no idea. But this isn't time to be a little debutante. This is about being, you know, the real you. Emperor, go get it. I don't know why it just feels like go get it. Emperor is about stability. You can see here with the chess set, that's strategizing and taking action, right? And being a solid force. Who is a solid force for you? It's you. You're the solid force. You're the grounding for yourself. So don't let other people's ideas or any rubbish, even if this is all about like passions, right, and your artistic creativity, don't let other people's kind of like limitations limit you. You're limited by your own mind. Don't let other people limit you. And then don't limit yourself as well, right? This is about unleash, 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 you know. Bam, bam, bam. I might read the forbidden for you too. Yeah, it's time to explore. Get it. Go wild. Okay, what card do you want? Like, which card do you want? All right, Two of Pentacles, very practical at the end. I like that. No, this isn't about changing completely of who you are. This is about expressing the real you within outwardly, so you remember and can embrace who you really are. This isn't about, you know, these two cards at the ends are kind of like, this isn't about changing who you are or being someone different or finding someone else that you should be. This is about rediscovering who you truly are and how the things and circumstances in the world around you has kind of like set these kind of limits, and you've either believed in it or not. You'll know where you're at. And so this is just to make sure that you are still authentic. It might be kind of wild and crazy for some people that are in your life to see this, but who cares? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, so what? You're not here to be a certain thing for someone else. You're here to be you fully. That's why you incarnated in this body. That's why you incarnated as you. That's why you have the skills and the mindset and the love and belief of who you are, right? So this is a huge kind of thing, and just get out there, like whatever it is, learn something new, try something different, you know, order something online that you want to play with, let's say, I don't know, whatever you're up to, you're you know what you want. But I'm going to read Forbidden because I think there's a message in there for you, so let's see. And then that'll be it, pile number three to pile 3. Okay, Forbidden. So I'm going to read the whole thing. It says here, you know you shouldn't do it. People have warned you not to. You've tried to put it out of your mind, but it's that itch that needs to be scratched. Like a moth to a flame, your pull to the forbidden is strong. To experience the fruits of life is something not just anyone gets to do. And you're not just anyone. You are you. So what's stopping you? Is it your moral code? Guilt? That's why I said don't be a debutante. Afraid of making a grave error of judgment? You know you're not getting any younger and the clock is ticking, damn. The richness that is life encompasses both the truly great experiences and the not so great, enabling you to grow into yourself. As long as you're not hurting someone else, why not? Period. You know, if it's not hurting anyone else, why does it matter? It's like when people worry about like, let's just use one, like gay people getting married, right? It's like, that'll like ruin my marriage. It's like, how? Unless you're going out and being like, well, now I'm going to screw some guys. Like, you know what I mean? How is it ruining your relationship? Doesn't make sense, right? So this is like, if you go do something that you enjoy and everyone's consenting and whatever, what has it got to do with anyone else? It's none of their business. They just need to go get a life, really. But anyway, it was a really nice message. If it's not hurting anyone else, why not? Perfect end to your reading. If you have any questions, you know, feel free to comment. And if you've enjoyed, thumbs up. But otherwise, look, this is a great message and a lovely reading to push out of the norms, get out of the usual stuff. We're also in a Scorpio full moon, if you go by Western astrology. Regardless, it's a full moon at this time that I'm recording it. So there's some strong energy there too. This is like an opportunity to awaken. And you've got the 8th house with this metamorphosis, and it's also highlighting Scorpio. So this is your big opportunity to break out of any old stories, old ways of being, especially if they no longer serve. Okay. Thank you for letting me read for you today, Pile 3. Take care, and I'll see you next time.